really sick. I had whatever, was going around, at least the upper respiratory part. I mean, people are having all kinds of different things. There's a stomach bug going around, there's the upper respiratory thing that's going around. It's like, oh my gosh, Saturday was like the worst day. Yeah, it was horrible. But glory to God, I am back now, and I will be reading a little bit from the NA book because I'm all about recovery, and I've been struggling a little bit here and there, and I know that there's people out there that are struggling too, so I feel like it would be great to be able to read this to you guys. And yeah, coming up in May 11th, I will have been clean and sober from everything for 6 years. But, the desire, I mean, I can't say that I have this strong desire to relapse or to do drugs, but I mean, that's always going to be at the back of a person's mind who's in recovery. Maybe not like consciously, but when you start feeling stressed or life is like getting kind of hard for you, you start drifting toward that. I mean, that thought process, which is not good. So I figured I need to get back into the big book. So we'll start at where it says, "Am I an addict? Only you can answer this question. This may not be an easy thing to do, although..." Wait, hold on. See, my glasses are just something else. Wait, let me see here. "All through our usage, we told ourselves, I can handle it. Even if this was true in the beginning, it is not so now. The drugs handled us. We lived to use and used to live. Very simply, an addict is a person whose life is controlled by drugs. Perhaps you admit you have a problem with drugs, but you don't consider yourself an addict. All of us have preconceived ideas about what an addict is. There is nothing shameful about being an addict once you begin to take positive action. If you can identify with our problems, you may be able to identify with our solution. The following questions were written by recovering addicts in Narcotics Anonymous. If you have doubts about whether or not you're an addict, take a few..." See here. Oops, gotta go down. Okay, let's see. Okay, there we go. Take a few moments to read the questions below and answer them as honestly as you can. Do you ever use alone? That's the first question. Number 2, have you ever substituted one drug for another, thinking that one particular drug was the problem? Number 3, have you ever manipulated or lied to a doctor to obtain prescription drugs? Number 4, have you ever stolen drugs or stolen to obtain drugs? Number 5, do you regularly use a drug when you wake up or when you go to bed? Number 6, have you ever taken one drug to overcome the effects of another? Dang. Number 7, do you avoid people or places that do not approve of you using drugs? Yeah, this takes me back because, there was a time years ago that I could answer yes to, yeah. Let's see. Okay, number 8. Have you ever used a drug without knowing what it was or what it would do to you? Number 9. Has your job or school performance ever suffered from the effects of your drug use? Number 10. Have you ever been arrested as a result of using drugs? Number 11. Have you ever lied about what or how much you use? Number 12. Do you put the purchase of drugs ahead of your financial responsibilities? Number 13. Have you ever tried to stop or control your using? Number 14. Have you ever been in jail, hospital, or drug rehabilitation centers because of your using? Number 15. Does using interfere with your sleeping or eating? Number 16. Does the thought of running out of drugs terrify you? Yeah, I remember those days. It's crazy. Crazy stuff. Let's see. Oops, I skipped one. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Okay. Number 17. Do you feel it is impossible for you to live without drugs? Number 18. Do you ever question your own sanity? Number 19. Is your drug use making life at home unhappy? Number 20. Have you ever thought you wouldn't fit in or have a good time without drugs? Number 21. Have you ever felt defensive, guilty, or ashamed about your using? Number 22. Do you think a lot about drugs? Number 23. Have you had irrational or indefinable fears? Number 24. Has using affected your sexual relationships? Number 25. Have you ever taken drugs you didn't prefer? Number 26. Have you ever used drugs because of emotional pain or stress? Dang, that's a lot of questions. Good grief. Let's see here. Number 27. Have you ever overdosed on any drugs? Number 28. Do you continue to use despite negative consequences? Number 29. Do you think you might have a drug problem? And that's the end of the questions. Am I an addict? This is a question only you can answer. We found that we all answered different numbers of these questions yes. The actual number of yes responses wasn't as important as how we felt inside and how addiction had affected our lives. Some of these questions don't even mention drugs. This is because addiction is an insidious disease that affects all areas of our lives, even those which seem at first to have little to do with drugs. The different drugs we used were not as important as why we used them and what they did to us. When we first read these questions, it was frightening for us to think we might... To think we might be addicts. Some of us tried to dismiss these thoughts by saying, oh, those questions don't make sense, or I'm different. I know I take drugs, but I'm not an addict. I have real emotional, family, job problems, or I'm just having a tough time getting it together right now, or I'll be able to stop when I find the right person, get the right job, etc. If you're an addict, you must first admit that you have a problem with drugs before any progress can be made towards recovery. These questions, when honestly approached, may help to show you how using drugs has made your life unmanageable. Addiction is a disease which without recovery ends in jail, institutions, and death. Many of us came to Narcotics Anonymous because drugs had stopped doing what we needed them to do. Addiction takes our pride, self-esteem, family, loved ones, and even our desire to live. If you have not reached this point in your addiction, you don't have to. We have found that our own private hell was within us. If you want help, you can find it in the Fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous. And I'm going to stop that for now. And it's it'd be kind of interesting had I been asked all these questions the day I got to inpatient treatment over in Spokane. Now, that would have been really interesting. Now, reading that list now, it's like, yeah, I was that way. I was this, that, and the other. Obviously, not everything on, that questionnaire I could personally have related to, but it was pretty darn close, and it's like, wow, that's nuts. You know what I mean? And yeah, if you're saying, oh, hey, yeah, I use drugs, but it's not affecting anything, yes, that is living in denial and not admitting you have a problem. Now, the one that really gets me, though, is when people are like, oh, well, look at that crackhead, or look at that person doing meth. I'm cool, though, because I smoke my pills off foil. It's like, really? A drug is a drug is a drug is a drug. Like, for real. People are thinking they're better because they smoke pills. When addiction is addiction. Addiction is ugly, and it will take everything from you. But people don't realize that. Sometimes they do, but sometimes when they realize that it's too late. We don't have extra lives. Just think about that if you decide that you're going to continue on the path of addiction. Like I said, there is help out there. People do care about you. I know it may not seem like it, but there is help out there. Just remember that. I'm going to let you guys go for now because I don't feel great. I mean, I feel way better than I did, but I still don't feel 100%. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. I have a new goal now. The new goal is to end February with 1,000 subscribers. So that would be great if y'all would subscribe, and it's free to subscribe. Helps me out a bunch, and, well, you know the spiel I always do. So, yeah, have a wonderful night. Thank you all for tuning in. God bless you all. Talk to you another time. Bye-bye.